Hey guys, welcome back to the VR6 build. This time we're working on the lights. Hey guys, welcome back to the VR6 build. So we're working on the Corrado yet again. This is the loom with a quick release for the lights. So from the fuse board it comes all the way down here, joined into this connector here, and from there it goes into this connector and then onto the lights. So this is the Mark III Golf, and this is as far as the loom I had. I had to go get this out of a Vento. The Vento naturally comes without fog lights. The Mark III Golf comes with fog lights. So there's 3 extra wires in this, and there's 3 wires missing in this. So now the plan is to join them together so I'll end up with fogs. And the other thing is, I just have connectors at the end. So I have to put the connector on for the headlight as well. So headlight, indicators and horn, or in some order anyway. This extra wire I think is the horn, which on the Mark III Golf and Vento sits off down there. So we're following this wire across. And again, that's for the lights, but I have to cut that connector off and put a different connector. That's for your indicators, and again, there's no fogs. So when I roughly pull that there, I'm gonna have to extend it a little bit because I'm thinking of running it in this channel up here, just to hide it out of the way. And this side here, I think that's plenty long because the connector is going to be roughly about here, so it will match up. This is planning, I think, it's probably going to end up being right there because I'm going to have a red snorkel or pod filter that'll sit roughly about here, and I'm going to bring probably a piece of metal up in this way to block it off from the direct heat of the engine. But this connector is going to sit here, it's going to be out of the way, but if I ever have to do any servicing on the engine, or if I want to take off the whole front end, I can just undo this plug, take the whole front end off, do whatever I have to do, maybe I don't know, change a radiator or something like that. Okay, so this is my plan. This is the Corrado loom, this is the Mark III Golf loom, or Vento loom I should call it. And these are my connectors. Some are there as other Corrado connectors. So this one here is the headlight. And my plan is to cut 3 wires of this. There's a common earth, which I've already just cut off. And that'll also drive the fogs for the earth as well. So here's the plan to follow these wires back, cut them, and then either join in here or cut this loom back to here and just put in the Corrado one. I've fogs and indicators still to join, of course, to this one, and probably a horn as well. So this is a 1989 car, so this is one of the very first generation of, or first like kind of off the production line cars. So what's the difference between this and later ones, or what have I seen? So the main difference that I've seen is obviously Volkswagen were planning, or Carmen, whoever was building actual looms, were planning this to be a success. The car was going to be a success, and basically money was kind of no object, I suppose, at the time. So you can see the thickness of these wires. They're really thick, and people say, oh, the Corrado has awful lights, it's like driving with candlesticks. It is. And I think the reason why is because the original cars, the very first ones, the wires themselves were very thick. So it means they could carry a lot more current, which could drive the lights. Where in later cars, this is out of a Mark III, but you give you some idea, the wires, the core of the wire and actually the wires themselves are a lot thinner. So these are much thicker. I'll try to hold both of them with one hand. So this is the thickness of the 2 wires. So this is, on the top is Corrado and on the bottom is Mark III. And you can see the thickness of this yellow one compared to the other yellow one that's on the bottom of my finger. Yeah, I think obviously these wires are way thicker, and I think that's why the Corrado has crap headlights, because later generations, as the years progressed, obviously they were losing a lot more money, copper was expensive, So you use less copper to save on the quality of the car. All you have to do is sell the car. You don't care what the actual headlights look like or perform afterwards. You're Volkswagen. So yeah, that's why I think the headlights on the Corrados are crap. So obviously the aftermarket scene is to put relays in. So what you do is from your headlight, instead of turning, or from your headlight switch, instead of the switch turning on the headlight turns on the relay. The relay then takes 12 volts straight from the battery to the headlight. So it's a shorter run, and I think that's what most people are now running, or else go HIDs or something like that. But this is what I'm probably going to go down the route of relays. So the problem that I suppose I'm kind of seeing is, where do I start? Like, it's a perfect loom, relatively. It goes all the way back to the yellow plugs. And probably I should have undone the yellow plug here, took the wires out and put them into the Mark III, or even put a second loom in just for the lights, because these are super thick wires. These are anything but thick. But I kind of want this connector, and kind of wanted the whole thing to be nice and easy to work with. So my new plan is to cut the Corrado loom and just join it here just for the moment, and at a later date plan on going with relays. Alright, that's that. Let's just go for it. So now the next step, which is to remove this pin here. I've already removed this one here. What you do is you get your pliers, hold on, and just give it a good pull. Out. Next step is to remove these little green grommets, and they are located at the very back. You can see all the green ones there. So I've actually pushed this one out before. So what you do is just get a piece of welding wire. This is from a MIG welder. You just gently keep pushing it like that. Obviously keep running one hand underneath it, or one finger underneath it to catch it, and eventually it'll come out. Don't lose it, because this is what you need. So you put the wire, when you're ready, we'll make a hole in this, and this is what's going to keep the connection dry. So this is what I did. I took a pick and just drove a hole straight to the center of this. It's kind of a bouncing back plastic or rubber, so like you can't see the hole, but there is a hole in it. Then I cut the wire at an angle, and you just push one over the other and it slides down. Make sure to have the flat end towards the back, and this kind of, I suppose, inlet side towards the inlet, so then when you push it all together, it'll be a nice clean edge and it'll keep the water out. So this is the Corrado headlight loom. So there's the 4 connectors that go onto the headlight. Comes up to here, and I have the heat shrink already on it. And we're going to join into the Vento, or the Mark III Golf loom now. Okay, so I have the soldering iron just warming up. So this is what I'm doing. I've twisted the 2 wires together, and I'm just going to cover the whole thing now in solder. There's 2 different ways of doing it. You can put solder onto this connection, solder onto the other connection, then put the 2 connections together and just warm solder again, and the solder melts and joins the 2 wires. And the nice thing about that is, if you wanted to disconnect it, or you made a mistake, you would just warm up the solder and you could separate them really easily. This is a bit more permanent, but I don't mind it being permanent because I'm not going to reopen it anyway. That's my solder joint just there. Now get the heat shrink, roll it up, and now I'm going to heat shrink it. Ta-da! As I found out afterwards from the original video, so this pin here that's missing, this one here, that's your fog light, and then these two up here are your headlight level switches. So thank you, Daniel Handstrom, told me this, but thank you very much. So here I have the two connections together. So this is the new harness. I have it teed here for the fogs. One fog is running down there. I think that's it there. Yeah, that's the fog indicator, Corrado headlight, and this extra one that runs down here is actually the horn. That's the horn ready to go onto it. And further back there's two extra wires, and they're actually horn as well. So obviously the Vento has two horns from left and right. Don't know why, it just does. So that's the one going that way. So there's red one is the other fog going that way. We follow it all the way around. My big section of solder joints, but they're all correct. I've checked them all. It's a new Corrado for the right hand side, and two extra plugs. So this one on top is your fog, and this one on the bottom is your indicators. So if you ever look at Volkswagen ones, so if they have two or one notches here, so if they have a single notch, it means it's a primary, and if there's a double notch like this, it means it's a secondary. So a primary would be like your fuel reg or something very important that the car needs or the ECU needs, where a secondary, if it's not plugged in, it's not the end of the world. So again, if you don't have your indicators or your fog lights plugged in, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to stop the car from running. So anyway, that's what they do. And come back. And this one here, I said originally one of these was fogs. The one that's missing is actually a fog, and the top left and right are actually your headlight leveling switches. So on very fancy cars you would have gotten that. So what I'm doing is, because I don't have this pin to go there and I don't have a pin to make up to fit in there, I'm going to use this headlight leveling switch. Because I don't have it, it doesn't really matter. And what I'm going to is, so that's where my fogs come in. The two fogs are joined together. They come in on this headlight leveling one. They come out of that and they go up on this one here. This is your single, so that's your headlight leveling switch. There's two headlight leveling switches. So obviously up and one is down. And what I'll do is I'll probably end up cutting those wires and join it back into your fogs. So it will have fogs, it will be wired up correctly. It's just that in this pin here it'll be switched around. But I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm delighted with that. So that's now the whole loom sorted. So guys, that's another video done. That's as far as I've gotten. I haven't gotten any further. So that's why there's no lights or anything in that end of that video all plugged in, but that's for another video. Alright, that's as far as I've gotten. So don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe. Support me on PayPal in the link below. And as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.